All right, so in this video, I'm going to walk through a couple of features that I really enjoy using with Akka, and the two of them are I'm going to use an AI assistant in order to add a component to my Akka project, and then I'm going to use Akka to create an AI agent that interacts with an LLM. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to create a new empty project. And when I do this, I have the choice of choosing complex or simple samples. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with an empty project because I want to show that the AI assistant context that we get in here is good enough to be able to work even without existing samples inside the project. And it asks me which of the AI assistants I use, and I'm using Cursor for this. And so you'll see that it created an Akka context directory inside my demo app, and that's going to be used by Cursor. Okay, so let's ask Cursor to create an agent for us. So I've done a really high-level prompt here. It goes against most of my instincts where I feel like I need to specify things at a very fine-grained level. But because Cursor has access to the Akka context and all of the Akka documentation, it's going to be able to take the really high-level description, the prompt that I gave it, and create a functioning agent. So I asked it to create an agent and to set the system prompt for that agent. And usually what I end up with in this scenario is Cursor will create the agent. It probably fails to compile on the first try because of imports, and then it immediately fixes that problem. And if I look at the to-do list that it's coming up with, it's decided to add an HTTP endpoint to the project. And I didn't ask it to do that, but I'm glad it's going to do that because that probably would have been my next step anyway. So we now have a new class called friendly agent and another new class called agent endpoint. And while that's going, I'll just take a look and see what it has built so far. Here's my friendly agent. And you can see here's the system prompt, and the agent itself is really just 4 lines of code. I set the system message, I set the user message, and then I reply. And that's really all that it needs. And Cursor is going to go off and finish things. But yeah, I have another sample from the Akka samples library called multi-agent that I want to show off some features in. And the multi-agent sample does, as the name implies, it's an activity recommender that uses multiple agents in order to come up with a whole answer where the small agents are composed. So in this window, I've got the multi-agent sample running, and here I've got it running in the top, and we just run node 3 here. So I have 3 nodes of the same service running, and this is going to be important because I want to show what happens when I kill one of these nodes. I also have the Akka local console running, and you can see that it's detected these three service instances running. So in the Akka console, you can see that I have these three running as well. So I'm going to go into the multi-agent service here, and I'm going to look at the activity endpoint. And this is an HTTP endpoint, but we have this great request builder functionality here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new activity. And because Akka knows what the payload looks like and what the parameters are, it can give me some hints in terms of what it is I want to supply. So this is user one. So let's say tomorrow. So I sent the request, and this, like I said, this request is handled by multiple agents and a workflow. And so what you can see is, as the activity has happened in real time, my console is showing me all the various activities that took place. And so we can see that my workflow started with a select agent workflow step. And in this step, it uses the model to decide which agents it needs to call. And so we can see it used the selector agent here. And as a result, it's going to do create plan, which is another workflow step. And it used the planner agent for this. And then it executes the plan using another agent. And then there's a view that gets updated, and then the agent summarizes its results and stores those. So what I can do now is I can go back to this endpoint, and I can query the activity that I just created. And so I'll send that request. And you can see far fewer components involved, but still just as interesting. And so this HTTP GET, you can see that I have a number of suggestions, and this is because I've run the same demo a few times, but you can see that the model answered with some outdoor activities to enjoy in Madrid and so on, and it got that data from multiple individual agents all being orchestrated by a central workflow. And so that's it. That's what I wanted to show. I think that being able to use an AI assistant to add an agent within a few seconds to your project, and then once you start the service in your project, you can then use a request builder and the request tracker to see and diagnose all of the activity. Now, what I want to do real quick is I'm going to shut down node 3. So node 3 is off. You'll see node 3 here shows up as exited. And now when I go back to my service list, all services, here we go. You'll see multi-agent 3 is unavailable. So I'm going to go to node 2, which we know I didn't use for my query or for any of my endpoint requests. And then I'm going to re-request activity 1, and you'll see it does the same exact activity, and I still get the right data, and I got that exact same data even though I never actually used node 2 for any of the workflow execution. So in a nutshell, it takes a few seconds to create an Akka agent using an AI assistant. It takes a few minutes to build and deploy a service with that agent in it. And then I can use the Akka console to manually interrogate my services, talk to my endpoints, and I can track the activity flow through my orchestration workflows for my agents. I hope you found this helpful. Thanks.